right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Shannon. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus. I'm in recovery for drugs and alcohol. Let's start in prayer. Lord, thank you for this evening. Just thank you for everyone that's here tonight, Lord. And I just pray that that the message comes through. That it's all about you, Father. We just thank you for loving us so much and for healing us. And we just thank you for the place that we can come to be healed, Lord. So we are grateful for you, Father, and just bless this evening. Amen. All right. So the holiday season, it is almost here. Anybody excited about that? Who's excited? Yeah? Not too many. How many of us are not that excited and are actually kind of dreading it? All right. The Megan's excited, so if you want to be excited about it, go sit next to her. The holiday season can be very stressful and anxiety-inducing as we start, thinking about what's to come as we get together with our families. And being around our families can be it could just bring up so much of the past that for many of us was the foundation of our issues, where it started, where the dysfunction started, and then our coping mechanisms were formed. Our protective responses started taking shape, along with our character defects, which then fueled our addictions and our compulsive behaviors as time went on. There could just be so much pain there within our families. And this is one of the reasons I'm so grateful for Celebrate. It was, being able to work through the steps, make things right with the past, and then start healing those relationships within my family. Me and my family, we get together for Thanksgiving and Christmas every year. And for so many years running now, it has been drama-free and a blessing to be together. And I bring this up to say that most definitely has not always been the case. For years, I dreaded our times together. I was always wondering, who was going to cause an issue or a fight, and, many times, of course, it was me. But I remember leading up to it for years that I would start spinning all these things around in my head and picturing these confrontations and who was going to say what and how I was going to respond to it. And this would go on for at least a couple of weeks leading up to it. But through recovery, I look at Principle 8 in action here. And Principle 8 says, yield myself to God to be used to bring this good news to others, both by my example and by my words. My family has seen recovery in action in my life, and they have heard my 9th step amends, as well as the 10th step amends along the way, and I'm just so grateful to the Lord for the 10th step. I have needed this because I am a work in progress. And the 10th step for me has helped keep me sane and keep me sober along the way. My family has seen me change from being negative, combative, self-focused, to being positive and upbeat, encouraging, supportive, slow to anger, and looking to help. They have seen that from myself and from my incredible wife. And a few months ago, my wife did a 9th step amends to my stepmother, and it was just an amazing thing to witness. I wasn't there when it happened, but I got to witness the effects it had on the family. There was just a lot of healing that came from that. And all of this to say is you guys made the right choice to be here tonight. This is such a safe and supportive place where you are understood and you are not alone. Within these walls, there is hope, there is healing, and there is recovery. But that's only if you show up and you participate in the process. As we approach the holiday season here, it reminds me of when I was a kid. And somebody said the most ridiculous thing to me. Get this, they said, it is better to give than to receive. Have you heard anything so ridiculous before? Unbelievable. I remember thinking, Christmas is almost here and I can't wait for those presents. Right? Any guys, you remember that time when you were a kid thinking that? And I know we may not have all experienced that in our families, and for many of us, we just wanted the yelling and the abuse to stop. But I do remember being young and thinking Christmas is coming. It seemed to take forever to get here. I was on my best behavior. I didn't want to sabotage this in any way, especially that one year where I was hoping for a very specific gift. All right, can any of you guys relate to that at all? The one gift that would make everything okay if you were actually to receive it? I had asked him what that was, the gift he just had to have when he was a kid, and he told me it was Tickle Me Elmo. There it is up there. and rumor has it that was one of the things he was carrying around with him in his matching luggage later on in life. He had a whole bag just for Elmo. What I really wanted was a new bike. And that year, my biggest dream came true. I got a brand new bike. It was just beautiful, and I was ecstatic. That was until 4 days later when it got stolen. And I was devastated. But what was it for you? The gift that's so special, you wouldn't even let anyone else touch it, much less play with it. Can you guys remember that? Well, unlike Tickle Me Elmo, the gift that I'm going to talk about tonight is not a gift that comes in a box. No wrapping paper or ribbon can contain it. This gift is so amazing, instead of keeping it for yourself, you just have to share it with everyone you possibly can. And unlike my bike, this is a gift that no one can ever steal from you. Now, step 12 talks about such a gift. It tells us, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And the biblical comparison says, brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently, but watch yourselves, or you may also be tempted. That's Galatians 6:1. So tonight's lesson is titled Give. And we are going to see how that spiritual awakening they talk of in step 12 and give are connected. So a spiritual awakening, what does that mean? I think it means a little something different for each of us. But from my own personal experience, it took me a while to feel that, which is, why they're talking about it in step 12 and not step 1. But despite that, from very early on in recovery, I felt something different. My life started to change pretty quickly. And looking back on when I first started coming here, I realized later that I had received multiple gifts. And the first gift I received was the gift of acceptance. A place where I was no longer an outcast. A place where very quickly I felt I fit in. A place where I was understood. And I received that gift because those that were there before me, those that had recovery, were practicing this principle of give. They showed me friendship, support, and guidance. They gave me hope by example and by giving back through service. So any of you people here remember Jim? He is the one, along with his wife Diane, that got Celebrate Recovery started here in Santa Cruz. And he was telling me a story before he left where he was kind of laughing at me because I had only been here for a few short months. And I said, Jim, I have received so much from this place and from all of you. It's about time I started giving back. My heart was just so filled with gratitude, I had to give something back. It just felt like a natural response. So the first thing I did was I made that big wooden box in the back that has prayer request engraved on it. Now, I still have no idea why I had to make the thing so enormous. But there it is, still in use 26 years later. And speaking of Jim, him starting this was because he was giving back from what he received. And we just celebrated 29 consecutive years from when Jim first started this ministry. 29 years. How's that for giving back and starting something that just keeps giving? Right? And through that, actually, there's another CR that started up in Boulder Creek. That just keeps giving. But give can be a very difficult topic for many of us early on in recovery. We usually don't have much to give. We're usually just hanging on. Usually we're just thinking about survival. And if you are new here, we are grateful that you are here and that you decided to join us. But what is most important for you is just to show up. Just keep coming back. Let us serve you for now. That's why we are here. So the next gift I received was the understanding that I had already received a gift and I didn't even know it. And that was the gift of forgiveness from my past that was given to me freely by Jesus' work on the cross. Have you ever received a gift that you felt had strings attached to it? That you're wondering why they're actually giving it to you in the first place? You're kind of cautious about accepting it? Well, this gift is most definitely not one of those. And one of the great things about it, I didn't even need to be on my best behavior to receive it. So the more I learned about God's love and God's forgiveness, the more I learned to love and forgive others. And the good news I started to receive here by the example and the words of others opened my eyes and my heart to hearing about Jesus and eventually accepting him as my Savior. Romans 8:32 says that God did not even keep back his own son, but offered him for us all. He gave us his son. Will he not also give us all things? We are never more like God than when we give of ourselves. That's what Jesus did. He gave himself. He is the ultimate example of giving and serving to others. Now for me, the gifts kept coming. It was through my sponsor, or I should say my sponsor. It's through my sponsor and what he received from his sponsor before him and through his own recovery that he was willing to share that gift with me. He gave me his time, shared his wisdom. He was there for every question I had, and I still have a lot. He was there for support, to lead by example, and most importantly, to guide me through the steps. He shared with me his victories over many of the same things that I was currently struggling with. And I did absolutely nothing to deserve this other than to be willing. But James 2:17 says, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. So works do not save you. That is Jesus' free gift to us all. But as my favorite saying suggests, you are not going to recover sitting on the couch, watching TV, eating bonbons, waiting for Jesus to heal you. You are only going to get out of your recovery what you put into it. I think that bears repeating. You are only going to get out of your recovery what you put into it. He wants you deeply involved. He wants you to trust in him. It's like a new partnership. You trust him, you do the work, he does the healing. My sponsor told me from the very beginning, he said, work as hard on your recovery as you did chasing the bag. And I didn't need a deeper explanation than that because I instantly flashed on several examples, several humiliating examples of what I did to fuel my addiction. That was the perfect analogy. Did anybody else flash on humiliating examples in that moment? You don't have to raise your hand. So I just continued moving forward and doing what my sponsor told me. He said to me, as long as you do the work, I will keep working with you. He made it clear he would not chase after me to get me to do the work. It was my job to pursue my own recovery, my job to call him. And as I look back over the past 26 years at all my sponsors poured into me, all the guidance, all the love and support, sharing his wisdom, his experiences, there was only one way I could ever repay him. I mean, he would probably take Original Joe's as a little bit of a payment, but But the true way to repay him is just to give, to sponsor others, to give back to the program that has changed my life. But I ask, who does that? Who gives so much and asks for nothing in return? And I will tell you who. The person that has received that gift themselves. The spiritual awakening of a changed life by Jesus through working the steps. A gift so amazing, it has to be shared. But this is a foundational principle of 12-step recovery, right? We get clean, following the guidance of our sponsor, working the steps, and then we guide others to do the same. And then they do the same at that. It's not about any one person. It's just following the steps. It's following the blueprint that's been laid out for us all. So our acrostic for the evening is appropriately titled Give. So G is for God first. I is I becomes we. V is for Victories Shared. E is an example of your actions. So G, God first. I learned through Celebrate Recovery and work in the steps how to put God first. I'm still learning how to do that. That everything I have is a gift from Him. That my recovery is built on my faith in Him. And my desire to follow His direction. And trusting He has me right where He wants me at all times. The next letter is I, when I becomes we. I never once appears in the steps. We appears 14 times. Recovery is not meant to be worked alone. Life is not meant to be lived alone. We cannot succeed in isolation. We cannot flourish in isolation. We are better together, and we are stronger together. Matthew 22, 37 to 39, where Jesus said, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. Ecclesiastes 4, 9 to 12 reminds us of this as it states, two are better off than one, because together they can work more effectively. If one of them falls down, the other can help him up. But if someone is alone, there is no one to help him. Two people can resist an attack that would defeat one person alone. So what are they saying in these two verses? What I get out of it is it's saying love God, love yourself, love others, work together, and support each other. So when you have reached this step in your recovery and someone asks you to be their sponsor, do it. If you are not sure how, that's okay. Ask your sponsor. My sponsor is always there to answer questions for me I have about working with others. But something he told me when I first got into recovery, when he gave me his first homework, he said to get a 3-ring binder and just put all your homework inside that, put all your step work in there. And it's really cool to go back every once in a while and read it and just see the growth and the change. I see a person in there that I don't even recognize anymore. But it is also a tool for reference as to how to work with others, how to fill out the homework, how to do the work. So the next letter is V for Victories Shared. Are you familiar with the saying, God never wastes a hurt? No? Nobody's ever heard that? No, when Tina's not here, nobody's yelling back out at me. You want to take over for Tina? God never wastes a hurt. It took me a while to kind of understand what that meaning meant. But many of the ways that we give back is related to our past pain. That through work in the steps, Jesus has given us victory over those. And then we are giving back through our experiences and the victories over those pains. And it's like I was saying earlier, my sponsor was showing me healing through a lot of the same things that I was dealing with. I could see that he recovered from them, and so I knew I could. that there is hope because you can see with your own eyes through the lives of others that it works and that you don't have to do it alone. 2 Corinthians 1:3 says, it encourages us to give thanks to the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the merciful Father, the God from whom all help comes. He helps us in all our troubles so that we are able to help others who have the same kinds of troubles, using the same help that we ourselves have received from God. Romans 8:28 expresses this as well when it tells us, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, and for those who are called according to his purpose. So the last letter in the acrostic is E for example of your actions. And I think we all know that our actions speak louder than our words. Good intentions die unless they are acted upon. One of my favorite podcasters says, behavior is a language. It's not what you think or what you say or what your intentions are. It's what you do. It's how you act, your actions that speak the loudest. It's what you do daily that tells the real story. So what are your behaviors saying? What are your actions saying? Our works are proof of our love for God and our gratitude for what he has done for us. 1 John 3:18 says, my children, love must not be a matter of words or talk. It must be genuine and show itself in action. Giving back and serving is a barometer of our love. Luke 8:16 says, no one lights a lamp and then covers it with a wash tub or shoves it under the bed. No, you set it on a lampstand so that those who enter the room can see their way. So what that's saying is when we receive the gift of recovery and have a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, let us light up the room for all to see. Let us give out of the gratitude of our hearts and of our changed lives. So what does that look like? What does it look like to give like that? Sponsor others. Do your testimony. Make coffee. Serve on the tech team. Here at Celebrate, we have service needs in all of these areas. Greeting, food, music, PowerPoint, audio, video, setup, breakdown, cleaning, purchasing, security, lessons, resource table, small group leaders, step study facilitators. Right? There's a lot that goes into this every week. But there are so many more ways to give back. This is just here. Some other ways are to chair an AA meeting or get a coffee commitment there. But step 12 says to practice these principles in all our affairs, not just in the recovery center. I wear my CR swag in public so I have the opportunity to start a recovery conversation on a moment's notice. You know, you can talk to people, smile, ask people how they're doing and actually mean it. Be a big tipper when you go out. Pick up trash when you see it. Every time I go into a public restroom, I use a public restroom, I always wipe the counter off around the sinks every time. You can mow your elderly neighbor's lawn. Care for your parents if they're still around. Serve and care for your entire family. So on this topic, my father, when I first came in here, was number one on the top of my resentment list when I first did my 4-step. Through working the steps and Jesus healing my heart and changing my thinking, I now get the honor to care for my 89-year-old father who is battling Parkinson's. I go over to his house once a week and cook him dinner and hang out with him and just love on him. And this is also, I get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. It's also a service to his wife because she is his full-time care provider. So she gets a break. She gets to leave and go hang out with friends or go hang out with her grandchildren. My father has been extremely anti-Christian his whole life. But I had the honor and privilege to help walk him through accepting Jesus in his heart several months ago. Without recovery and without celebrate, that would have never been possible. In our new lives, we can change from being the burden or the worry to our families to being the one that they can count on. If you're married, have your marriage reflect that gratitude. Serve each other. It brings me such joy to serve and honor my wife. And speaking of gifts I received, my wife is another one of those gifts that I received through recovery and my spiritual awakening. We can reflect the hope people see through our changed lives, through our spiritual awakening and our giving back. So if you have received this gift, I ask you to consider joining us in serving here. And if you don't give here, just give where you feel you're being called. Matthew 10:8 says, "Freely you have received, freely give, because it is truly better to give than to receive." If you have not yet received this gift, just keep coming back. Don't quit before the miracle happens. Don't quit before you receive the gift. So great that you just have to share it. Thank you.
Santa Cruz Celebrate Recovery meets every Friday night at 7 p.m. We're located at Christian Life Center, 1009 Mission Street in Santa Cruz, California. If you live near Santa Cruz or just visiting the area, we warmly invite you to attend. To learn more, you can visit our page on Christian Life Center's website at clcsantacruz.org/celebrate-recovery. We hope this video has been encouraging to you, and thank you for watching.